I'm author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erika Lance.
And this is Eerie Travels. Greetings, traveler.
Why do we keep leaning into the mic to say that?
Because I want to make it, it's well, honestly, for those that know, my greetings, traveler is a tribute to a specific horror icon. And
which is who? Just for everybody who's older than 5, who are you doing?
It is a tribute to the old radio programs of old, but it is actually a parody. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Okay, I knew you were going to somehow bring Garth Marenghi back up, and then they're like, no, whatever.
His new book is coming out. I am very excited about it. The sequel to Terror Tome. And for those who don't know, Garth Marenghi is a fictitious author, Arthur Holness, and it was created for an 80s TV show that it wasn't created in the 80s. It was created in the 2000s, but they pretended it was an 80s TV show. Stars Matt Berry, Richard Iowade, and Noel Fielding. It's probably one of the greatest things ever invented for television. And now there are actually books coming out.
Okay, so. I don't know that it was the greatest thing. It is hysterical, but go ahead and check it out. You should find it on YouTube because I think that's the easiest way to find those episodes. But we're going to skip to what we're actually doing.
Yes, we're actually here for important things.
Yes, because I can't let you talk about Garth Marenghi anymore today. But we do have an amazing real author with us today. So
the other book I'm most excited to wait for. So yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, I think she's going to put your whole Garth Marenghi thing to shame here. We are with Paige Lavoie. Paige Lavoie.
Woo! Oh, greetings, travelers. Hello.
Yes.
Yes. See, she didn't lean that far into the mic, which is good.
Greetings, travelers.
There we go. Now you're talking.
Let's just make the entire podcast really creepy. No, just kidding.
Man, is it creepy or is it sensual?
What everybody doesn't realize is on camera, we've all turned off our lights and are holding flashlights.
Yeah.
Our chins,
I wish you could see. Oh, yeah. No, it's an ASMR podcast.
Oh, yeah. That's
like lean in and sip the tea really loud.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You want to listen to chewing for like 45 minutes?
No. They know Erika and I would just be doing Cracker Barrel chicken and dumplings, and it would not be pleasant. So.
You know what, Mark? Chicken and dumplings. It's actually their cheesy hash browns that get me. I'm just throwing that.
Sunday chicken.
Oh, I can't eat chicken. You keep bringing this up.
I know.
Stop rubbing it in my face. Okay.
Well, I can't do garlic, and you always eat spaghetti, so it's
okay. But actually, that's what I had for dinner tonight. Back to Paige, though. I had spaghetti for dinner tonight, but he's allergic to like all this stupid stuff. Oh my gosh! Actually, side note, because this is crazy. I found out that they put coconut oil now in most chocolate because they found it to be cheaper than the way they were making it. So even Swiss Miss hot chocolate has coconut oil, and I'm allergic to coconut. So now I'm like, this is recent, and I'm now in a complete like panic because I went to have some ice cream that was mint chocolate chip, and I was like, why are my lips tingling? And it's because it had coconut oil in it. And I'm like, why does this stuff have in it? Anyway, needless to say, my world is ending because everybody's using coconut oil for chocolate now.
My world, welcome to it. I'm allergic to all the grasses, so I can't eat garlic, onion, collard greens, all that, and that's in everything.
This is just the food allergy podcast because I can't do gluten or dairy or any of that.
Like, turn to the boredom. No, just kidding. So, Paige, let's talk about you because you're amazing and not completely boring like me and Mark with our food allergies and stuff like that. So let's tell the audience a little bit about you as an author, just because I think you'll do it more justice than we will, and I'll just fangirl back here.
Okay. All right. So hi, everyone. I'm Paige Lavoie. I write stories. They typically have monsters, misfits, people falling in love. And my sort of newest series is I'm in Love with Mothman, and it's about a 22-year-old burnt out social media influencer who decides that she's done on the internet. She's ditching her life online. She's moving to a cabin in the middle of nowhere. And who lands on her roof? Mothman, obviously. And oh no, he broke his wing. So she's got to take care of him. She's got to nurse him back to health. Does she feed him soup? You bet. You bet she does. And it's
also
very cute.
burns like vegan muffins for him. So
oh yeah, it's cookies. She's trying to make cookies for her neighbor friends. And I was like, how can I open this scene? So we just have giant Mothman in a cabin, and she's like, I'm a really good baker, I swear. And there's just smoke everywhere. And he's like, what is, and he's so in love with her. He's just hopelessly devoted to this sweet human who is wearing like ball gowns in the woods and traipsing around being ridiculous.
it's true. I have to say, so listen to the audiobook because that's how I do anything on my travels, travelers. And I love the fact that she decided to move out into the woods with glitter sneakers. Glitter high heel sneakers. Like that was a good I love that she thought legitimately that was a good plan.
Yeah. And honestly, you know, something you might think to yourself, of course she would have like practical shoes. I don't have practical shoes.
No.
No, I actually don't own a pair of sneakers currently. I do have a pair of Croc flats. They're like the fashion Crocs, which is not a statement that actually makes sense.
No.
But yeah, so I was like, what is the most ridiculous like fashion blogger influencer shoes? And there's this brand that was super popular called Irregular Choice, and they literally make like cartoony, light up, glittery sneakers. And I wanted them so bad. Like when they first launched and they were really having a moment online. I'm like, those are Heather's practical shoes. Those are her, I'm gonna go for a hike, I'm doing things. And I love that. Sorry if you can hear a sweet toddler in the background. It's bedtime, and I think
we can't.
Requesting.
You're
okay, great. Never mind.
Yeah,
what
no,
child?
There was no
Nice
child that
know.
we're talking about.
Yeah,
glitter
she's
sneakers.
a cherub. Yeah, glitter sneakers. She's a cherub. I love her so much. Anyway, yeah, I'm just sometimes I forget that throughout the whole book she's wearing those. So like they're having serious conversations in the woods, like all these things are going on, and her sneakers are probably just like lighting up.
I cannot wait till somebody is cosplaying this character.
Oh my God.
Because the glitter sneakers. But I thought that, and you know, we're gonna obviously, you know, layers on this because we are on the road to Mothman. But one of the things I thought was interesting is, to me, as a reader, that really set the stage for her kind of mindset and her impetuousness in doing this activity. Because I'm not going to give away things, everybody needs to listen to it, but her determined desire to go do this was very fast. And I think people do things very fast, don't always think them all the way through the way they need to.
No. Yeah, she had her Pinterest board. She had that sort of like lightning idea of I need to make a change. And then all of a sudden she's in the woods. And I wanted to make sure the pacing moved really quickly too. Like, so we weren't kind of, because in the first draft, we saw her like at an influencer party. We saw her with her ex-boyfriend. We saw all of this stuff that I'm thinking I might release in like a blog post or something like that. But it did not serve the story whatsoever. And I thought about a reader coming into this book and what they were expecting. And I'm like, I'm not going to introduce like 5 people that you never see again and have all of this stuff that really doesn't serve the plot at all. So it all ended up getting cut, and I think it was for the best, but it was really helpful for me as an exercise just to form the character and see what her life was like before the big change happens.
Yes. And anyway, Mark, have you actually, because you have a different sort of experience with this book, right?
Just a little.
Okay.
You know, I read it. I didn't listen to it yet. So I'm gonna have to listen to the audio version and compare notes and see what's different. But my take with this is, you know, like I said, what was fun was at Mothman Festival last year. It was my first time being there as a guest speaker and, you know, selling Erie Appalachia and meeting all the people. And thankfully, I had your preview flyers to hand out at the festival, and they were flying off the shelves. Literally, I literally could not hold on to them, as you know, we had stacks of them and they were gone in a second. People were just thrilled with the idea of it. and I can't wait to actually have the books there this year. Spoiler alert, we're going to have them. But now my question to you is, as you're coming up with this, how much research on Mothman did you do?
Why don't we start with why did she choose Mothman?
Why'd you choose Mothman? Yeah, that's a good
Yes.
I
question.
mean, I think one, Mothman's just very hot. Like if you're looking at all the cryptids, like, I mean, that butt, first of all, wow, top tier. But also there's just such a mystery around Mothman. We have this sort of these sad tragedies around him. Is he a harbinger of death? Is he like trying to warn people of tragedy? And I think in that, I felt like this very strong sense of loneliness. Like we have all these sightings of him like clawing up a car and being seen alone in the woods and also doing some really obscure things. I read a story about him stealing a dog. And in my mind,
overlook.
I would like to think that dog was just his companion in the woods for a while, and it had a long, healthy life with him. And how wonderful! That's what my cutesy brain wants to do with that information.
You just go with that. Just go with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to put a trigger warning on this episode, so to discuss
they're having a great time.
What really happened with the dog, but
yeah, it's just a Mothman and his dog running around the woods. It's totally.
Bandit, we hope you're out there, on the farm upstate.
Yeah, kicking
all
it.
The rabbits. Yeah.
But so you see all this. Some stuff is really awful. Some stuff is just kind of strange and mysterious. And so I think I was drawn to that, and also the idea of this lonely creature who's maybe one of a kind lurking around the forest and trying not to be seen. And it kind of made my brain go into like a Beauty and the Beast kind of place. What's his deal? How did he get here? And I went back and forth on like what I wanted the reasoning to be. Like in a first draft, he was sort of a like forest guardian, and I didn't end up going with that. But yeah, I'm so curious, Mark, as a cryptid enthusiast, as an expert, what are there any things in the Mothman lore that you wish were included, that you were hoping to see?
Oh, in your book?
Yeah.
More
kissing.
I mean, John Keel, the guy, the great studier of this, who was the guy who brought Mothman to light. He was the journalist who happened to be there when all this was happening, and then he was there. He's the one they based Mothman Prophecy. He wrote Mothman Prophecies, and fictionalized quite a bit of what he was doing, but also embraced a lot of the research too. Now he tied in one of our favorite characters from mythology of West Virginia, but not mythology. It's an encounter that happened, which was Indrid Cold. And he tied that into Mothman.
Aliens. You wanted her to put aliens.
You wanted some aliens.
Indrid Cold should definitely be the love triangle.
Oh my goodness.
Bring in Indrid Cold as the one investigating Mothman, and and they could have a but that would just be
Paige. I should have warned you before we started this that you got to be very careful asking Mark some of these questions, because if the Garth Marenghi thing did not give away the fact that Mark will find some weird obscure way to bring up different things, and B, he's going to be like, how do I make this super weird?
Well,
what if there was a love triangle with aliens?
Exactly. With Indrid Cold? Come on. The smiling man, but no, one of the fun things, we go back to the original encounter, and that's what a lot of people overlook. Everybody always pictures the Mothman as the artsy, the more dimensional warping and all this stuff. The original encounter, the first time they describe him, is his wing is caught in a barbed wire fence, and he's using these muscular arms to rip his wing free. So I love the idea of you having the wounded Mothman and nursing him back to health, because that goes back to the original sighting that most people overlook. So just one of those little pieces that I
Oh,
thought was very
that's
interesting.
really fun. I think I was thinking that the original was always that car one that everyone
That's
thinks
part of that. This is the first
Yeah.
part of that. The first time they see him
Ooh,
is he's stuck on a barbed wire fence. So
poor lonely Mothman.
yeah,
Poor
exactly.
Just
lonely
needs someone to
Mothman, 'cause
help.
I don't think you actually describe how he got hurt.
Oh, when he lands on the roof,
Yeah.
he's creeping on Heather. He
I
has
know
a
he is,
crush.
because we're not doing the stalker thing, but I'm just
No.
saying if it ever comes up, you have that barbed wire story to go back
That's
to.
right.
Mothman's
Yeah.
nemesis, barbed wire.
I figured it was he was being clumsy because he's sneaking around checking on his sweet influencer girl, and it's storming and he just was a little reckless and gets
So is
down
he
on
on?
the roof.
That was one of the questions. Is he on Instagram? Is it Mothman likes this? Yeah.
Oh, is Mothman? I actually made an Instagram for Heather. So
nice.
if you look up her screen name in the book, there's an Instagram page where it just has a little profile picture and it says that she's on hiatus. And I've thought about opening that up and having some different updates and stuff from her.
Very cool.
I think that
so
would
there
be-
you go, fans.
There's
Somebody
one for the
make
goat too.
a Mothman Heart Heather, Instagram page and and follow it. So
Right, just both of them going back and forth.
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
I don't know that Moth would want to use a phone.
I don't know. Yeah,
I
he's
don't think that we
definitely
could get him on
an odd
Instagram.
character, so,
Well,
yeah.
I was about to say with those claws, I don't know how the hell he would use a phone.
No.
Yeah,
Like, Yeah,
No, he'd
'cause you
definitely have to
use-
be on a tablet.
I think, and this is a mild spoiler, but I think one of my favorite things to write was him crushing the phone and it just like in his hands, electric confetti. He thinks he's helping.
Oh, I love that because if you think about something, like I was actually having a conversation with my daughter who's in her mid-20s, but I was telling her, I'm like, you need to, go outside, take a walk, leave the phone, right? And she literally gasped. Like there was an audible gasp on the phone when I'm explaining this to her. And I'm like, when I was your age, we didn't actually have cell phones like that. Like we knew how to call each other. That wasn't a thing, and so you can live without it, believe it or not. I know you don't think that, but you can live without it. And it was just funny because she started laughing and she's like, why are you saying that? I'm like, because I heard you gasp. I heard you gasp when I said like your phone died. But I'm not gonna spoil her, but Heather definitely has a reaction to the phone being broken into glittery shards. So let's talk. So the second book's coming out. We just talked about that. I'm Engaged to Mothman, right? And that releases in November, which is super exciting. And this is going to be a trilogy, correct?
Yeah. I'm currently book 3 is kind of getting woven together. I'm a little bit of a chaos writer. So I have things in Google Docs, I have things in Word, and then I have things on my free write. And the other day I'm like, all right, let's start pasting all of these things into the draft. And yeah, that was it was a journey. It was fun. Now it's nice to kind of see all the pieces coming together. But in the second book, we're going to learn a little bit about Moth's family. I want to figure out how to say this without major spoilers. Maybe figure out origins a little bit. And Heather is going to this first book, we get a lot of Moth and Heather getting to know each other, really diving into their romance and getting comfortable and vulnerable with each other. And in the second book, they're going to maybe have to take their relationship from being isolated out to the woods into more of a public setting and see how that dynamic kind of works when you're introducing new people. And I don't know how to say anything else without saying too much, but it was really, really, really fun to write. And there's lots of new characters. I think we get really into that found family trope in this one, like a lot of those cozy moments, and it's a little spicier. So that was really fun too.
We like it. And what's interesting?
Spice is nice.
The
Spice
spice
is
is nice.
Spice must flow.
Spice up your life.
So I'm going to ask you a couple more questions about the book, and
Okay,
then
I'm ready.
we're going to take a break, and talk about monsters after that. But one of the things that I love about this book is taking the cryptid aspect out of it This is a very sweet with a little spice romance story. Like and it's different from that angle because it's about that relationship and not about he's a cryptid like that. He's a cryptid, but it's not like this book is a cryptid and then he meets somebody, like you created, I think, an amazing story for these two characters, but you did it in a way where you were not making that the focus. And I think that's kind of brilliant. And did you set out that way to do it? Like,
yeah, I did. Thank you. First of all, that made me, you can't, this is audio only, so you can't see, but I'm very like, flushed,
a little
moment.
blushing
Yeah, a little
happening.
blushing. I really wanted something that felt like that sort of Hallmark romance, that classic rom-com, but I wanted monsters in it because I'm not a Christmas girl. I'm a Halloween person. I love the spooky season. I love autumn. It's always been my favorite. And I'm like, how can we get those swoony feelings, that classic structure of a romance, and add monsters to it? Because I think that we have a lot of monster erotica, which is lovely. And I have so much fun reading it. And then we have our rom-coms. And then we are starting to get more of that mix of sweet and spicy. And so like very, very fun. My friend Lizzie Strong does it very well. Her stuff is higher level spice, but it still has that cozy feeling woven in. But I really wanted to do something that felt like the Dead Romantics or Allie Hazelwood's books, where you're getting that camp, you're getting all of the tropes, and you're getting Mothman all at the same time. And so as I was writing it, I was really studying that structure of a Hallmark movie. And I didn't know if it was going to be spicy at all, really. There were moments when I was like, could this be a little bit of a higher YA? And she's like 18 and they're younger and it's way more sweet. But it really worked where the character is 22, where she's in that cusp of being that new adult. And they have a little bit more of a mature relationship while still dealing with that growing up, finding your way theme. And I loved writing two people who are hiding from the world. Mothman doesn't want, all the monster hunters to find him. Heather is tired of her internet fans and that pressure and that social media life. And they both end up hiding in the woods for different reasons and finding each other. And it was like, honestly, a joy to write.
And I love that. I do want to say for people who may not be like, I don't read romance, because I know a lot of you are coming to Mothman to see us and you're going to need to buy this book, but the hunters and that aspect of it, you kept that very true in the book, and not like just a little bit of a Diet Coke thing on the side, which sometimes Hallmark tends to do. Is, they kind of mention something, you're like, did they ever mention that again? No, like, so I love that anyone who's reading this book that may not be like, I'm in it for the romance, could also see, because Moth goes through his struggles too, like just as much as she does with what exists out there. And what, I'm not going to give away more than that, but there is a monster hunter, at least one in this book, and it's interesting, that dynamic. And I thought you did that character a lot of justice too, because anyone who is seen the people that work at sort of hunting cryptids, and when I say hunting, I'm there are two different schools. There's the ones that are looking just to understand and find out about them, and it's this unknown thing, which Eerie Travel's big support. And then there are these people that are like, they're the devil, let's kick them out, like kind of thing. So I thought you did a lot of justice to that. So even if you're not like, I'm a romance reader, there's so much to that story within the book too. So did you find monster hunters when you wrote that? Like, how did you create that character? So
okay, well, Chris, well, can I say, you know what? You can, if you read it, you know exactly who it's going to be. he was a character that I wanted to make sure had like that he thinks he's the hero in the story the entire time. If we're doing Beauty and the Beast, he's the Gaston, the whole adventure, but he has a complexity about him. He really cares and he really thinks he's doing the right thing. I wanted to make sure because the like monster and paranormal researcher community is so lovely and has been really kind and welcoming, and there's like some wonderful Facebook groups about people sharing Mothman sightings and stories, and it's really fun. And so I wanted to make sure to distance Chris from that group. So if someone who's like, I love going out into the forest and doing research and finding these things, I didn't want them to see Chris and think like, oh, does she think that that's what we're like? Because that's not at all what this community is like.
Doesn't come across like that at all in the book.
Thank you. Yeah. And I peppered in lines basically of him sort of turning his nose up at that community, because I wanted to make sure that he had a very different, where he's not in it for answers. He's very much in it for revenge. He's had his experiences and he's out for blood. So I also, you know, I'm not a big, no, it's not even, I'm not into hunting whatsoever. Like if you follow me on Instagram, I'm Paige Lavoie author, and you look at me, I look like I would invite animals in to clean my home.
I was going to say very Snow White, very Snow White.
Very Disney princess.
Yeah.
So
singing every day. Like,
yeah. And so I had to make sure that I checked my own biases. While I am very aligned with Heather in that I tried not to just like, I tried to write it from Heather's voice and not put my own, it's there, but you know what I mean? Have that balance.
No, and I think you did that beautifully, because I think that I love talking around this, so we're not giving away, but I think the dynamics of it and how you portrayed that character is you did a very good job, and you did a very good job of grounding why he's like the way he is, that is very relatable and very believable that he would do that. And I think a lot of times when it comes to the first of all, every evil person in a story generally thinks they're the hero of their own story. You rarely get an evil person that knows they're evil, right? Because they think they're right, or even if they know they're evil, they're still the hero because all the good people are idiots or whatever, you know. But I think that you did a great job with that, and I totally see it from the paranormal, I want to say hunting, but I really mean it in the nice way of trying to find evidence, trying to find things, the people that are doing it the right way. Community is not like that at all. You know, they're not into they're into the exploration of it and all that stuff. And I think you absolutely laid that balance between the characters while making that character very real. So I think that was also a terribly brilliant part of the story without giving a lot away. Look at me.
Very well spoken.
Very well
Yeah.
And Erika, I got to say, it's a joy watching you fangirl instead of me fanboying over a guest. So it's
do you see how I do it with decorum and asking appropriate questions?
Where I just blabber, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
he gets so excited, and I do. I'm a huge fan of Paige. But when Mark does it, he's just like, then I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You're just staring at the person.
Yeah.
Or just talking. But with that,
I'm doing it now. It's just a little less. Yeah,
am I doing it a little better than you are? Is that
I'm enjoying watching you do it, which is making it just hysterical for me. So, and we'll do more of that in just a few minutes, folks, when we get back from these messages. Erie, Appalachia. Gear up for a frightful jaunt into the darkest reaches of the ancient Appalachians. Folks deep within the Appalachian hollers lean close to the campfire to share stories of the inexplicable with hushed awe. Monsters rumbling in the hills, strange lights darting through the pitch black night sky, horrible occurrences almost ineffable in their bizarre tragedy. Tall tales, you might say. Tell that to the Flatwoods monster in Braxton County, West Virginia, or the Goat Man of Louisville. Look into his humanoid eyes and let him know you don't believe. What of those apparitions in Mammoth Cave's Corpse Rock, or the Satan spawn known as the Jersey Devil? How do you respond when confronted by these mysteries? From the metaphysical energy that swirls near Serpent Mound in Ohio to Point Pleasant's Mothman legacy, Mark Muncy and Carrie Schultz explore the dark history lurking in the shadows of Appalachia. Read by Mark Muncy, author and experts on strange folklore with appearances on shows such as Ancient Aliens, The Curse of Robert the Doll, and many, many more.
Greetings, mortals and others. I'm Dick Terhune, the voice from hell. I work with haunted attractions all over the US, Canada, and Europe to increase audiences and enhance their experience with highly effective commercials, narrations, animatronic character voices, whatever your dark heart desires. Let me help you do more, scare more, profit more. Find out more at Voice from Hell on Facebook and at voicefromhell.com.
We're back, and Mark, instead of fangirling on and starting to babble about things, decided to do it during the break. So we're going to go back to what he was. Yeah, I totally. You called me out on the podcast. I'm calling you out.
Has never jumped onto a single podcast. Had to step in to talk to Paige about Mothman stuff on our break. So,
I mean, your wife is lovely, so I'm not complaining.
No, she's the talent. I just do words.
Yeah.
So,
she is the talent.
But no, you guys were discussing what was your question, Carrie? Was what to you? Where is Mothman? Because birds are evolved reptiles, right? Go ahead, lean in.
Let me clarify. I was saying that birds are a form of reptiles. I know some people may not believe it, but feathers are actually modified scales. So I didn't know if Mothman was more of a mammalian creature or more of a reptilian creature, which, I mean, part of that harkens to a lot of aliens are considered reptilians. So there's a lot of ways we could take Mothman.
There are a lot of ways we could take Mothman, and you can read more about them.
Yeah. So what would be your take as you were writing this Mothman? So
I kind of did, because while I was looking up like reference and stuff, I kind of saw like a mixed bag of textures where it's like feathers, scales, all sorts of stuff. So I did kind of like a scaly lower body, kind of going into like more soft downy feathers on his chest, and then the wings are more moth-like with some feathers sort of trailing down the shoulders. I'm gonna have to draw it at some point in time. I'm not a very good artist, but
I think Carrie's gonna draw it for you, so
Carrie,
that
please.
it actually looks like what you want it to look like.
But
we draw stick figures here, me and Mark. We can do that.
Yeah. No,
I can
Carrie
do a
is the
chibi.
forensic expert. So she's the one who listens to all these people who tell us their encounters and their stories, and then I give her my notes, and then she's taking her own notes, and then that's when she comes up with these amazing illustrations, for the books. So
oh my gosh, yeah, they're incredible. Yeah. And then sometimes in my book too, he does look like a hot anime guy. So the shifted form is like the big wings, the little fluffy antenna, and very handsome. I thought a lot about Adam Driver while I was writing.
Oh my goodness. So I am a huge Adam Driver fan. There's a movie called 65 out there right now, and I keep trying to get my boyfriend to watch it with me, and he's like, I already know what the whole thing. I'm like, but it's Adam Driver.
Man Who Killed Don Quixote, the one that nobody's seen, Terry Gilliam's latest. He's amazing in it. Him and Jonathan Pryce slay that movie. Awesome.
So when I was listening to Mothman, that is who I put in the place of Mothman.
There we go.
Is Adam Driver. I was like, he's really tall, and I'm like, oh, he's like Adam Driver.
So when the movie rights come out, we know who needs the option.
Gosh.
Yes,
please. Lee Pace has also gotten tossed around a lot. A lot of people say they think about Lee Pace, and I'm so down with that casting too.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Okay, so Mark, who would you cast as Heather?
I don't know. I was chatting about that in my Discord. Where I kind of flopped around with who I thought made the most sense, I guess. I feel like someone's breakout role, someone that we don't know yet. You know what I mean? Like
I went influencer. I went, old school Felicia Day, and then but she's too old.
Wow.
And then I went Ashley Birch, And she's a little too old for that now. So I would have to go somebody along those lines. That was what I felt anyway.
Yeah, I really need an answer because I've been getting asked that one a little more frequently. There was a book talker who someone tagged, and they said that she looked very similar to the cover art. I think Books by Sierra, and I'm like, oh, I need to send her a copy and be like, hey, it's you.
our Hellview girl, Priscilla Rose. That would be good too. So
yeah. No, you know, you should throw it out there and have people give you names, because there are all these, you know, type actors and actresses that or just actors, I should say, that we don't even think about, and somebody's gonna they're gonna slide that into one of your DMs, and you're gonna be like, this is who it is, you know.
Yeah, true. And then I won't be able to stop thinking about
yeah, exactly. Then you're like, I'm writing the movie script right now.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to.
So Mark, though, you were talking about some obscure thing having to do with Mothman. When you're like, I'm going to talk about this when we get back.
Well, I'm going to say that, people, when they do research on Mothman, they tend to look up, John Keel Mothman prophecies and the original sightings and all that. And then it just kind of stops. The suspension bridge collapses, Silver Bridge dies. And that's the end. No one, Mothman disappears after that. No, he doesn't. The newspapers stopped reporting on him then. And John Keel finishes his book, and that's the end, is the bridge disaster. The Mothman was warning us of the bridge disaster. But when I was doing Appalachia, I thankfully got lots of people reaching out saying, I saw him in the 70s. I saw him in the 80s. I saw him in the 90s. I saw him 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, what? Tell me these sightings. And I'm thinking more of the Chicago Mothman, or maybe the India Mothman, which seem more flying gargoyle-y. They don't really seem like classic Mothman. But then the more these people would describe him to me, the more I'd be like, aha, maybe there is something to this. And one of my favorites was this postal truck driver was driving across the New River Bridge, which is, one of the highest suspension bridges in the world. And it's a beautiful valley. It's probably one of the most amazing things to drive over in the world. And he saw this thing coming at him with a reddish glow. And it started getting really close to him. As he's driving, 60 miles an hour across the bridge, and night is falling. And he realizes this thing's keeping up with him and flying beside him. And he turns and he's thinking it's a drone or somebody's just having some fun with him. And when he sees it, he describes it as basically a flying Sasquatch with big red eyes and a 10-foot or even bigger wingspan, at least 10 foot. And he still thinks it's kind of a hoax, but then those eyes just kind of fixate on him. And he starts to panic, and he realizes he's not paying attention to the road. So he quickly turns back to the road, and the thing, he looks back and it's taken off. It's like flying off down the valley. And he reported it to the police. They didn't apparently do anything about it, just took the report. And then he reported it to me because I'm the creepy Florida guy. And I had mentioned
Mark, I need to clarify something though before you continue. What did you expect the police to do about it? You said they apparently did nothing, as if like they're ignoring it.
They didn't call him back. They didn't follow up anything. There's no, he never got we researched it. Usually, even if you report, I lost this thing, and could you see if it's been turned into any pawn shop? 90 days later, you'll get a little letter saying, we looked into it. Sorry, we can't find anything. But this guy, he's never gotten anything back. This was, 2018. And when he talked to me about this, it was 2020. And he was saying he hadn't heard anything in a couple of years. He saw my posts looking for information about it and recent sightings. And so he threw that one in for me. So, that was pretty cool. And I love that he's still out there, still doing his thing. He might have been, checking out the postal truck to see if Heather's getting a new package, and he wanted to make sure he was tracking it.
Maybe it's the phone. I'm just saying. Phone
maybe. That's true.
But I think it's funny you say that, because me immediately I'm like, if I was a police officer and somebody came in and described a giant flying Sasquatch with red eyes and everything, he'd be lucky I didn't put him in the loony bin, right? Like getting a report.
Think about that it was Mothman, because he was thinking Mothman is the statue, the Frazetta version Frazetta got from the John Keel writing, and so he didn't even put two and two together of a flying Sasquatch and Mothman until later when he was talking about it on other groups. Somebody said, hey, that's what I saw. That's more what Mothman is to us. And my favorite thing now, do you know the sound Mothman makes, supposedly?
It's like screeching, right?
Right? Is it really just a
Yeah.
high pitch kind of
Wait.
you think this
Say it again.
big monster would have some deafening roar, but no, it sounds like Beaker from the Muppets, apparently. Yeah.
It's Beaker from the Muppets.
It sounds
That's
like,
the casting. That's
Yeah, it's
who's
like
gonna. I'm in love with Mothman, but it's all Muppets.
there you
Miss
go. There's
Piggy
the
is
cast.
Heather.
There's the cast. There you go. Disney Plus special coming up.
Oh
Can
my
you
gosh.
even imagine? Oh my gosh, that would be ridiculous. Okay, so
So-
Paige, let's talk about your other work. So we're talking about the Mothman work, but let's talk about your other work a little bit.
Sure.
Okay.
Where do we want to start?
Well, I want. Where do you want to start? Because I know
Okay.
we have an alien book coming out.
We
Oh.
do. And oh my gosh, it's really soon too. In October, October 4th, we have Dear Galaxy, which is a 1950s inspired space road trip romance. And gosh, this is the book I think I've been writing just the longest. I think it's like 7 years in the making. And so I'm so excited that it's finally gonna like see the light of day and people are actually gonna get to like read it. And my 90-year-old grandma is very excited. It's the one that she's wanted the most over the years. And so she's kind of kept me in check of, okay, when is the space book coming out? It's very sweet YA. And I don't know if I should stop for questions instead of just rolling
Oh, you
into
go.
more
Oh,
description.
yeah.
Okay.
Keep on going.
Yeah, so it stars Susie Starlight. She is the know-it-all advice columnist at her school newspaper. And she thinks, despite never having been off planet or on a date, that she has the answers to everything because she has a giant guidebook that she just refers to for anything about social etiquette, dating, what have you. And she's starting to feel a little restless. And one day a letter arrives at her desk that is addressed to her alias, Miss Galaxy, and she gets sent on this road trip through outer space, and she's got to take along the rest of the newspaper club. So she has her best friend, a guy that she cannot stand, and the junior editor of the newspaper, and they all travel to all of these made-up planets together. And in every spot, there's a different clue that leads them to the next planet. And wow, I don't know that I'll ever write sci-fi adjacent again because writing space stuff is very difficult. But I had just the best time. It's reminds me of the 1950s beach movies,
Nice.
like Gidget
Nice.
and all of that. Yeah,
I
I
was-
watched so much Turner Classic movies growing up, so that's
It's
in there.
fun because the 1950s were probably one of the height of UFO mania because so many people were seeing them all over the place, especially mid 50s. 52 is the year Eisenhower ordered shoot them down because they saw the 7 over the White House and all that. And this is the origin of modern alien mythology or science, depending on which version you fall on, modern UFO history. So I love that you said that style,
Thank you.
which is fantastic. So
I have
looking
them
forward
in
to
a
it.
flying saucer too, where I was like, what are they going to be traveling around in? And it's just this little flying saucer. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's a lie. I was going to have them in a flying saucer. I have them in a Jetsons-esque souped up space cruiser. So they look like these hot rods, but it's like with a little bubble dome over it. And there is a line from Wallace, who's the kind of stuck up newspaper a guy, where he's like, I thought we'd have something sensible like a flying saucer. So he was upset.
Nice.
Flying saucers are the minivan in
I was there, so they're the SUV, and then all right. So.
So you have this, which is amazing, but you have another release that just came out, correct?
I do. Yeah, I have a Hades and Persephone retelling called Our Own Little Underworld. And that one has been so much fun too. It's about a sweet goth kid and a cottagecore or princessy kind of again, like a girl who would be friends with Heather, honestly.
Nice.
But he's getting really bullied at school. She has a super toxic relationship with her mother, and they end up running away together. And it's got a lot of parallels to Hades and Persephone, but I tried to bring it into the modern world where he like serves her pomegranate tea, and another story of people running off to the woods together, because apparently I have a thing for that.
Oh, can't argue that. That's where we're moving. We're moving off to the woods. So.
Yeah, you got to. A lot of people too, because you know, Percy is this sweet kind of vintage-esque girl, and then we have Hayden, who's this like hardcore looking goth boy with a heart of gold. And they'll think that I'm more like Percy, but I was the goth kid. I was hanging around the cemetery with my big sketchbook and had like the giant mohawk and stuff. So a lot of both of them are, you know, as we do as authors, I put myself into both the characters, but I kind of flip-flop on whether I'm more like Hayden or Percy in it.
What we do.
I love that. So what else is out there from you for people who inquiring minds want to know?
Well, it's I'm in love with Mothman. Then we have our own little underworld, and then Dear Galaxy, and then the third Mothman book, where maybe they get married. I don't know. It's I'm in love with Mothman. I'm engaged to Mothman, and
I dumped Mothman. That's the third one.
I dumped Mothman.
Yeah, I dumped Mothman. We're not together anymore. Oh no, it's I'm getting married to Mothman will be the third one. And I can't say anything about it because it's gonna spoil just the whole thing.
No,
but yeah.
saying anything
So
about
that's kind of what's on the horizon. And then I'm drafting a ton of stuff where I'm flirting with the swamp monster concept right now.
What?
Yeah,
Swamp monster. Hey, which kind? Lizard or plant or
okay.
What are we going with?
I'm going very Fishman. So
okay.
I love Creature from the Black Lagoon. I love
Shipwater.
Yes, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
My brain just for a minute, but so I really wanted to do like a giant fish man. And then we went on a vacation and we went to Silver Springs, and that kind of solidified it with me, where I had this very vivid thought while we were doing the glass bottom boat tours of what if a fish man just swam? What if someone just saw his little flipper feet just for a second, and what would that kind of be like? And it's all
where they filmed a lot of it, so that's where they filmed a lot of it.
So I'm gonna bring it back over there, and there's campgrounds there too. You can like stay, and maybe there's some vampire things in the works too.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Gotta love all these.
We love our vampires.
So what? You know, we only have a little bit left, but I want to go into what made you so in love with Halloween. Like, I'm a Halloween girl myself too. I'm so excited. Like, I keep joking that it's it's Halloween season because they're starting. I looked up to see if Starbucks had their pumpkin spice lattes. Usually that's the symbol of it.
Cracker Barrel does have their
no, they do. They should have them now.
It's usually right after 4th of July. Well, by now
by now in August.
Yeah, no, they have them now. So but I love so much Halloweeny stuff, and I know what mine goes back to, and mine is not as cute of a story. So tell us your story though, why you're a Halloweeny girl.
Okay, but do we get to hear yours after? Or no, it's not a podcast one.
No, it's totally a podcast. I have been very lots of ghost situations, lots of paranormal situations as a child.
Mm-hmm. I lived in a haunted house growing up, so we should compare notes sometime.
Oh yeah, we should have let's have a pumpkin spice latte and compare notes, because so many
my kids did a whole episode of our show where they just described the stuff growing up in this house. So.
They did, and Mark knew nothing about it, but
oh my god,
they kept it from me.
A lot of fear, and having to turn that fear into something that I was more in control of, I guess, or more like that was mine. It wasn't a cute ghost. Like, you hear these stories of these cute ghosts now that do cute things, and I'm like, why can't I have a cute ghost that does a cute thing versus my experiences? So what about yours?
I think we had kind of a similar feeling of being really afraid of all the paranormal stuff because I legitimately thought it was all real. My grandpa was a very like spooky Halloweeny guy where he would tell us stories when we were very little about the boogeyman and all sorts of UFOs. He loved UFOs. Mark, you and him he was developing photos. He would show us all sorts of stuff. He would sit and talk to you about aliens and creatures of the night. He convinced my sister and I that vampires ran all the blood drives in the blood banks and stuff. So I just he's right. Oh, we're going to drop some facts on you listeners.
No. I'll save that for a later episode.
But yeah, so I very much thought that all of it was real. And I think that part of me was very afraid of that, but the bigger part of me thought it was all fascinating. So Halloween, I think I dressed up like a witch every single year. I would like pretend I had magical powers. And then I don't know, it just continued to grow. I remember seeing this advertisement for Halloween Horror Nights on, it's like one of those cable things where they would show the behind the scenes of painting the host's nails and how they did all the makeup. And I thought it was so cool seeing how this stuff is made and behind the scenes. And then I got to be a scare actor when I was like 18. I tried out as soon as I could. And I think that fear just grew into more and more and more enthusiasm. And I just love it. I think that's a bit of a rambly answer. There's also just like a smell in the air during fall. And I miss it because I live in Florida now, but that sort of like dead worms and leaves. And it's so comforting, which is a strange thing. Like, I'm like, where's my dead worm scented candle? I kind of, you know what I mean?
Somebody needs to work on that. Dead worm scented candle. We'll keep our eye out because we go to a lot of creepy shows. Maybe somebody will have a dead worm scented candle.
So have you been to the Mothman Museum? Have you seen the statue?
I haven't been.
What?
I know. And I wrote a whole gosh darn Mothman romance, but I like lived vicariously through the pandemic on like all of the social media things where I did like the little click around on Google Maps. Yeah, and so I want to go so bad. I want to take a picture with that statue and like to go run around the museum. And now there's a gift shop. There's like
the museum is awesome. Jeff Wamsley, friend of the show, and we love him, and we're excited to be part of the Mothman. He runs the festival, so
cool.
He will be he is where he will see your books there. So we'll try to get him in the shop.
Just wink.
But
wink.
But it's just a couple miles from the domes, the TNT domes where the whole sighting occurred. And it's so funny. People come to that museum from all over the world for the festival, and you can come any other day of the year and walk right in, enjoy the town, enjoy the festival, all that, go over to the dome, see all that. But if you come on those 2 days, there's a line that's like 2 hours long. So, so make sure you come a day early or come a day late and enjoy. So, but we'll get to there.
You're saying that, but everybody's going to be like, "Oh, hey, Harry Travel said to come." And then somebody's going to yell at us.
Then everyone's there.
Come a day early, day late. Yeah, we're going to come there during the festival and get a copy of the books, and then also see us. So
let's talk about that because we have some really special things. We've been talking about the books.
Yeah.
But we are very privileged that Paige is allowing us to bring not only I'm in Love with Mothman, and we're going to bring 100 signed copies of that. So a very limited edition of autographed with a special message from Paige to the Mothman fans there. But we get way before it's released, I'm engaged to Mothman, and we will have a limited number of signed copies of I'm engaged to Mothman and the most adorable Mothman stickers that go with it, because Paige is sort of giving this to us as a gift to take with us to the Mothman Festival, which is super exciting.
I'm so excited. I only ask that you take a picture of them there.
Oh yeah. We will take a picture of the shiny hiney for you.
Yes, that's all I want.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I hope I hope everyone loves the books and the stickers. And I always do doodles in the books when I sign them too.
Perfect.
And they're gonna be very cute on the inside. Like I'm gonna give Mothman little like blush and hearts, and it's
go.
gonna, yeah, very cute.
Very
I
nice.
can't wait, and I'm super excited that you're allowing us to do that. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a
that's-
secret hope that you can make an appearance, but we don't know. We know we don't know. So but we absolutely are excited to have them there, and we appreciate so much that you've been a part of our road to Mothman with us.
Yeah, I love being here. It's the best. What good vibes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
are absolutely going to have you on and try to get you to go to the Mothman Festival for I Am Married
Yeah.
to Mothman.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, please.
When the trilogy is complete. Yes, definitely.
The
Yeah.
complete
It's not, I don't need a
trilogy.
whole lot of convincing, honestly.
All right. Twist charm. Oh, dude, that's enough. Yep.
Oh no. What do you mean I have to go?
So, Paige, how do people find you?
Oh man, you can find me all over the internet. I'm Paige Lavoie author, pretty much across social media, and then paigelavoie.com for my website, which I should have a makeover at this point, so it should be all fun and cute by now.
Very, very cool. We did record this a little in advance, not going to say how much, but it is wonderful having you here. Thank you so much for being on this podcast with us. I really appreciate it. And Mark's just a hanger on this particular.
Oh no, I appreciate it too. It's been amazing.
I appreciate
I'm
being
telling
here
you,
with both
third
of you.
book, since you're still planning and plotting stages, take a look at Indrid Cold, take a look at the Men in Black. You got a love triangle there.
Oh my, stop it. Enough with Indrid Cold.
What if I told you there was a love triangle already in the third
What?
book? What if I
Babe.
told you they end up at the Mothman Festival in book 2? What? Who said that? Oh my
What?
gosh.
Oh my gosh. Well, you got to come up for research purposes. So, all right.
Okay, well, guys, thank you for listening. We don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a review, hit the button you're listening to us, check out Paige. I will say this, on top of being a fan of the books, I'm a huge fan of her on the socials. She is amazing and so much fun to follow. So definitely check that out. And Mark, is there anything you would like to say to conclude this particularly awesome episode?
No, I will just say live, laugh, lurk, the motto of Mothman, and we'll see you on the other side.